In 1967, Sumner fell in love with Phoebe, and the pair was soon married. Shortly afterwards, the newlyweds starred in a Love American-style episode. In their vignette, a husband complicates his wife's plans for his surprise birthday party and confuses several of his friends when he tries to throw a party for himself. Hilarity ensues. Phoebe matched Sumner in talent and showmanship. Pictured here is their 1967 debut album.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
In 1969, Sumner was a member of the NASA team that made the first lunar landing. Most think that Neil Armstrong was the first man to set foot on the moon. But in fact, it was Sumner who impetuously stepped out first because he, characteristically, wanted to get a good photo of Armstrong. The chaotic events of the 60s, including war and social change, continued into the 70s. Sumner, always impeccable in his timing, made a startling revelation in 1974, that he was, in fact, the lone holdout dentist that would not recommend Trident chewing gum for their patients who chew gum. This news, though, was entirely overshadowed by other events. With the price of gas increasing in the 1970s, Phoebe sold Sumner's guzzler and got him what she referred to as a Moroccan hybrid. In 1980, Sumner bolstered many U.S. citizens' feelings of national pride, which had been severely strained during the turbulent 1970s, when he led a team of amateur and collegiate players to victory over the long dominant and heavily favored Soviet Union at the Lake Placid New York Olympics. Sumner made us proud to be Americans again. Later in the decade, Sumner returned to the silver screen as a member of the Brat Pack. The Breakfast Club was about 6 high school students: a prom queen, a jock, a geek, a rebel, a basket case, and a 60-year-old junior who couldn't pass math. Despite their differences, they discovered how they have a lot more in common than they thought. He also starred in St. Elmo's Fire, a coming-of-age story about a group of friends struggling the encroachment of adulthood. Later in the decade, Sumner, with his partner Harry, launched a new business venture called Sun Meadows, a manufactured housing community for active seniors. Sumner is pictured in this Business Week along with another entrepreneur of the air. Unfortunately, the early going was tough for Sun Meadows. Finances became tight, but Sumner never lost his optimism or good cheer. Tight for cash, Sumner and Jonathan found work as crash test dummies at the local Hyundai plant. In the early 90s, Sumner began sketching a cartoon that lampooned a fictional misfit family. He pitched the concept to Fox, but it was turned down. Also in the 90s, Sumner toured stadiums across the country with his heavy metal band, Tooth Decay. Unfortunately, he was not so successful in other ventures. In the late 90s, he launched Sumner.com, a website which sold certified, pre-owned toothbrushes. Pictured here is the stock chart for Sumner.com's brief public life. And pictured here is the Wall Street banker who took Sumner.com public. This picture was taken shortly before he tragically took his own life. Nonetheless, Sumner continued to occupy the limelight. In the Lord of the Rings trilogy, he co-starred with his grandchildren Anthony and Emma, who played hobbits. His crossover to TV was less successful. After just one season, he was kicked off of American Idol because he didn't have the heart to eliminate anyone. Paula Abdul, one of his Idol co-stars, said Sumner was too nice. Co-star Simon Cowell said, "If he was as gentle with his dentistry, a lot of people would be needing root canals by now." There is no doubt that Sumner has enriched and improved our society and lives. If, as he says, his first 80 years are just a warm-up for what's to come, then we're all in for a fortunate future.